it.
This'll do nice.
Okay, guys, Gray's here. I just want to go over the POE 2 build we had for the season. It was really good. I figured I'd go over it real quick. So, ended like this. I'll show you what the end result is and then how we get there. So, end result is usually your so about 86% deflection. It usually goes to about 90, 95. It just depends on kind of like working for combat or not. Decent amount of evade. Armor's through the roof, but that's more because of the mage blood than anything. And so defenses are pretty good. And then the elemental resistances and stuff kind of change based off if I switch stuff out based off the map. Anyway, let's get into just the basic stuff on what I thought was really useful to get really strong for the build. I've been able to kind of do all content, not just the bosses and stuff, but in this season, doing the expeditions has been like way more difficult than the rest of the content. Even when I do like 200% delirium, some of the expedition content, you can really ramp up there beyond. And when you do that, you can get crazy things like the ability to get like that little legacy of brisk wrap here, where it just lets you put like a unique into your gear. Or instead of taking that when you're doing the event, you can choose to get like an extra passive point for your character. All sorts of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff you can do with that. So what we ended up with for gear is, and I pretty much crafted all the stuff, or was in guild when we got it. So if anybody wants to know how to craft something, I can let you know, but there's a lot of crafting videos out there. So made some +2 to projectile gloves. They ended up being pretty good. Once you get towards the high-end damage, it starts to get tough to get damage onto things, so you start to look for those like plus projectile anywhere. Mage blood, I kept with bismuth, granite, silver. So silver is going to make it so that your character has better skill speed, which just overall makes the build feel better. And the further along you get with your build, the more you're going to kind of want skill speed. So with the double skill speed, granite for the armor, and then bismuth for just the elemental resistances. So pretty much just covering all of my any shortcomings on my character with the build. If you were going to make one, or if you're trying to figure out what you want for your mage blood, I think that the evasion ones, the elemental resist is really good. If you want the armor, take care of your armor, it worked really good. And then the double silver works great. If you don't have Garu cans for your support gem, might want to go with the diamond flask until you get it. For boots, there's a bunch of different kinds you can get. In fact, I keep selling some. The ones that give you, let's see if we have some that I have been working on here. Yeah, so skills have a chance to not remove charges but still count as consuming them. So try to go for that kind of boots. I ended up rolling skill effect duration slowing potency, and then the deflection rating to evasion rating, which is I needed all these stats to kind of finish my character out. So that's what we went with. If you can get the chance to not remove charges, it helps a lot with the build. And the reason why is because in the end here, you are going to spec into the Fabled Stag, and that actually has a 12% or a 10% chance not to remove charges, just depending on what kind of gem you have in your gear. So Chronomancy boots, that's how you make those. You just get an Uhtred's Sidarius, and it makes the Chronomancy. Same thing with this. Kohler's Hunt is to make the +2 to projectiles. It's the only way you can get the mods to roll. And then the rest of the stuff's pretty basic for if you're going to be like a Twister build. The Ordained Grand Spear, for this season at least, it's one of the best. The slot's really easy. You don't have to really craft a spear. I've been trying to. I got this one made and a few other ones that have the extra slot. And the reason why I want the extra slot is because my character is trying to keep that 30% chance when you gain a charge to gain an additional charge. So that helps a lot with our frenzies. Pretty much everything. So you can get the 2 sockets. Helps a lot. If not, then you're just going to go that without the extra damage. And the reason why is because it's just ease of use. I'm more for ease of use with everything. So for ring, we went with the unset ring. I switch this out all the time. Sometimes I'll use something like this that we crafted. Sometimes I'll use something different. It just depends. But if I want the extra skill, I'll go with this. And with it, which in this case, I wanted the rarity of items found, and the rest of the stats on here, which is perfect for what I was doing. Not as much damage as this, of course, or even this one. But it has the rarity find. And late game, you kind of want rarity find, at least 100%. So that's the first ring. The taming's the next one. Pretty basic for this build. Everybody's going to want the taming. It makes it so that when you shoot off your tornadoes here, and when you do your ground effects, you just get all the effects. Fire, ice, lightning. For your helmet. I went through a few different phases. I'm going to show you what the gear was that I was wearing before I got here. But you want to try to go for something like an energy shield helmet, because we have access to mask here. Subterfuge mask. You're going to try to use a bunch of different helmets, and it's just never going to be as good as that energy shield one. I've tried everything. At least to me, this was really good. You're just going for energy shield, whatever resist you need, and then maybe a little bit of rarity find. Raven Touch Shard is how you get that. And just whatever you want over here. Last thing is going to be the offhand and the necklace. So the necklace here, you can go through almost anything. I use this defensive one that we found. Pretty nice with the 2 defensive buffs it has on here. And then everything else is pretty nice as well. But for a little bit more damage, we got that +3 to all projectile skills on a Eternal Rage necklace. And I really like Eternal Rage for this build. If you're attacking fast enough, you're going to get 30 Rage real quick anyway. So you don't need Eternal Rage, but if you're using it, then you can use Rage Forge as a support skill. And I'll show you that in just a second. It does a lot of damage. So what we got here is +3 to projectile skills. I highly recommend your prefixes if you can. It just be defense, as much defense as possible. Don't worry about your damage for your prefixes. Get your damage out of your suffixes. And then for me here, we just got the quality to skills on the gems, the projectile skills. Someone actually gifted this to me, and so I just was using it. We have quite a few different necklaces that are pretty good, but this one had that plus to quality, so we're getting a huge amount of quality on our skills from that. And then the scepter, we ended up using the Palm of the Dreamer in the end. I went through a few different things. I don't think you need this and I'm going to go over in priority of what I think you should do, because that was the hardest thing for me. Once you start making currency and you're doing good, you're like, well, what do I do? Like, what do I actually want to invest in? And I'm going to tell you what I think was the best. This is really good. And if you are having any kind of hard time where you just notice things clog up a bit and you're not really killing them fast enough, this is going to blow everything up. But the investment on it is really high, and if you don't need the chaos resist, it's not really worth it. Last thing here, I guess I didn't really go for chest. So chest was really important. This was the last thing we went with. It's not as much evasion. Going for a full evasion chest is pretty good. But we have this finished out our armor. This finished out my energy shield, and this had evasion ready, had everything I needed, and I had the 5 sockets. And the 5 sockets is really what I was going for. So you can go for whatever kind of sockets you want here. But we went with this.
I have a buyer.
So with the plus the life increase to the global and then the spirit per socket filled, you might want to go for resistances or something. That's what a lot of people need. I needed the extra maximum life because in the very final version of my build here, I want to use a few different things, including a ring that allows me to do some extra damage to physical. I'll show you that. But or based off your life. So we're trying to kind of go for as much life as possible. See if it works. In here, you'll see that we've used the idol that makes it so that you awaken the bonded modifiers. I don't have enough bonded modifiers in here really to justify it, but it does give me that extra quality to all skills. If you look at the quality of the skills here, every skill I have, including Twister, is at 35%. So there's a 35% chance for an additional Twister to shoot out there. Pretty cool. That goes for everything. Mainly why we're using it is because of the Rage and then Berserk. It makes the Berserk effect go through the roof. And everything else. I mean, you know how percentage to your skills works. It's just every single percentage works. So anything you're kind of trying out is going to be good. The only thing kind of messes with is charge regulation, but whatever. Makes this go off a little bit quicker. All right, that's it for gear. We got a golden charm rite of passage I got at the first of the season that just dropped. So we always wear it. You don't have to have this. I recommend using something like the Nascent Hope dowsing charm. This really helps with your energy shield not getting wiped out, and this one helps with not being pretty much just energy shield. It's like really nice. Immunity to freeze as well. For your skills, here's what Spear Stab is. Just kind of went with Life Leech, Elemental Armament, Life Tap, Rage 3, and Blind. You can go for something like Pulling Strikes, things that do things. We don't use Spear Stab anymore, but while you're leveling, you're going to. Spear Throw is pretty cool if you just want to throw this out every once in a while. It's going to freeze everything. If you set it up like this, Botire's Vengeance, Freeze, Cold Attunement, Embitter, and Deliberation. Massive amount of freezing. Early game, I needed it. Wild Protector. This is one of the reasons why we're the build. We get to have the Wild Protector. Extremely powerful. Got Meat Shield on it. Hulking Minions. Elemental Army. Romira's Requital and Tekrod's Revenge. These are my favorite. Right at the first of the season, I just went and grabbed Tekrod's Revenge first. And then I got Romira's Requital to drop. This one was the more expensive one, is why we grabbed it first. Need the minion up at all times, and so when he dies and him staying alive longer is just amazing. Without it, we lose a lot of our passive bonuses when he's not alive. So something like that is going to be one of your priorities. And I'm just going to go over the priority right here, what I think you need to get. So Primal Bounty's next. This is why we're the build. This is how we get our Twisters to shoot faster than almost every other class in the game. Everybody that's ever joined this stream has just been like, my god, man, your Twisters are shooting way faster than mine are. It's because the class gets this. And we'll go over Primal Bounty in a second, but if you're already playing the class, you know what this does. And then right here, Olroth's Conviction. This is going to be where you want to put it. You've got 2 places to add this. If you're using Runic Ward, you can throw this into your Barrage. If you're this class, though, I would throw it into your Primal Bounty. It's just being able to have your Primal Bounty go off multiple times is amazing. Vivid Stampede. Always use Commiserate, Living Lightning, Culmination, Charge Profusion, and Aelith's Chimes. You're going to get a power charge off of this. That's the reason why we do this. If you want to try something else, you can, but this is the best setup. I've tried everything. This is the best. Righteous Descent. This is from our spear here. There is nothing you need to do with that. If you go for the spear, I just put through in rapid attacks, Thrill of the Kill, Pulling Strike, Magnified Area, and Fist of 4-3. I was really hoping this would be a different kind of skill, but it does not give you the consecration effect or any of the cool stuff for the slabs. It's just considered a movement skill. Impurity. So you're always going to have a scepter on. In your scepter, I think that precision, vitality, herbalism, and clarity are the best. If you have another socket, go for anything else. Your scepter doesn't use the spirit from these auras, so always do it. Make sure you always do this. Eternal Rage is from my necklace. If you're using a necklace that has a free aura, you'll have it right here, and you can socket it. I didn't need anything for Eternal Rage. Whirling Slash. You got rapid attacks, Rage 3, knockback, and Blazing Critical. Rigwald's Ferocity. It's great. It's expensive. It's not needed. Don't worry about getting Rigwald's Ferocity unless you're kind of wanting like a budget gem where you can throw this into here, and then if you switch your switch, you can always kind of throw it into this skill slot to do more damage. But it's not. If you're going for attack speed on Whirling Slash, that's more of a monk thing and stuff for like Dead Eyes and whatnot. We don't need to do that on a Spiritwalker. Spiritwalker does not need to have a spear that just makes you attack extremely quick. It's not needed. So Rigwald's Ferocity, don't worry about it. Twister, this is the one that I had the hardest time. So if you're spec'd early game where you're just kind of reducing the resistances or you're freezing them, or if you're still using probably the best in slot, which is Sacred Flame. I think Sacred Flame's even better than this right here. Really do. So Sacred Flame's gonna reduce the resistances that creatures have based off of their lowest resistances. Kind of messes with the setup I have right now, but early game, this is the best. Pretty cheap. So for Twister, my favorite setup. Early game, you can throw in different things, but this is going to be for the final setup in late game. Rakiyada's Flow gets rid of all their resistances and inverts them. It's amazing. Garukan's Resolve, extremely powerful. These are both in almost every build, so really powerful. Projectile Acceleration, Rage Forged because of what we're doing with the Rage, and then we got Varana's Siege. So the ones that I think that are needed. You do need Rakiyadas and Garukans to have a great time. So what investment do you want? I would go for Garukans off of everything else. The reason why is because Garukans is going to make it so that you only need a 50% crit chance. It changes your entire tree. It changes everything you get to do, all of your gear. Everything changes once you only need 50% crit chance. So because it's so powerful, it changes your entire, it's build enabling. I would go for Garukans first because there's ways to get around Rakiyada's Flow until you actually need it. So this is the less expensive one. This is the more expensive one. So kind of go about it however you want. Projectile Acceleration is needed no matter what. You can throw in Elemental Armaments and a Rage Forge. You can throw in anything. Rage Forge is just because it's 35% more damage if you have 10 Rage. Because we always are at max Rage because of Eternal Rage, Rage Forge is the best. This is the highest damage in the game you can pretty much get. It's even higher than Concentrated Area of Effect. Varana Siege, this takes over Concentrated Area of Effect and Area of Effect skill gems. You can't use either one of them if you use this, and that's why I like it. This makes it so I don't have to think. I always have extra Area of Effect. I always have extra damage against isolated targets. It's extremely powerful. If the stronger you get in the game, the more powerful that is for you. So this is my favorite setup. I'd go for Garukans first. This isn't really that expensive. You can just throw that in if you want. And then Rakiyadas is going to be one of the last things I get. And that's only because you're going to notice a big difference, but it's not needed till late game. Barrage, cooldown recovery, heightened charges, perpetual charges, Uhtred's Constellation. These are needed no matter what. This is the setup. That's all you need. I wanted a little bit of cooldown reduction on it. And I also wanted to have my flasks recharge faster. Back when I needed a little bit more life, honestly. Not needed anymore, but this is still a really good support gem. I don't see a lot of people use. It's cheap. So if you need something cheap, it's pretty good. Go for it. Ice tipped arrows. I've tried to move away from this a few times. It's just so good. So elemental armament, freeze, short fuse, magnified area, and embitter. There's a lot of ways to set this up. This is the way I like. I just like things to freeze more often. Ghost Dance with cooldown recovery. If you're using energy shields, you're going to need it. If going the evasion, deflection, life path. Don't worry about it. Wind Dancer, until your evasion's max, which probably never will happen. I just have it kind of do a little bit of damage and throw Maim on. Combat Frenzy, one of the best skills for us. We have a very hard time keeping Frenzy charges up, unlike other classes. Go for it. You're going to need it. Charge regulation is not needed. Once you switch over to crit, the power charge crit chance you get is very powerful. The skill speed is really good, and the armor and evasion from the endurance is really good. Not needed at all, but it's nice. So this is a luxury. Herald Device. Everybody, you've used this on a lot of classes, most likely you've played. I like Armor Break, Urk Smelting, and Armor Explosion. That's probably the only kind of weird thing that you don't see very often. So other than that, Magnified Area and Embitter. Trinity. This is a luxury. You don't need to have Trinity going, but if you do, Fire Mastery and Uhtred's Omen is how you finish it off. You're going to get the highest elemental damage for it. Berserk, if you're using Eternal Rage, which I recommend. And we finished off with Sniper's Mark. Cooldown Recovery, Charge for Fusion, Eternal Mark, Mark of Sight. There you go. That's pretty much what we're doing for gems. Passive tree. This is our end passive tree. So as you see here, we're not really spec'd into a lot. What happened here is late game, you get these very large radius 3 suffixes jewels. They're so powerful that just becomes the build. So late game, if you end up making these, which I made all of mine very easily, don't go spend 300 or 400 divines on them. You can just make them. There's videos everywhere. I can throw one up if people need help with it. So if you're having a hard time with these, just let me know. I can even craft one probably for a few people. It just depends on who asks. But not a big deal. These aren't as big a deal as people will make it. But that's how the build ends. I did have Hollow Palm technique to where I could spec into all of these and really, really juice up the build here. But now that we're late game and I have so much damage already anyway, I kind of went a little bit for more defense over here. If you want to get the Hollow Palm technique, and then like spec into every single little passive here to get all of the bonuses, go for it. You don't need it though. But yeah, that's all we're doing here. So we're getting all of our end crit chance, skill effect duration, and crit damage from all of these passives here. And while you're up here, might as well get the crit damage bonuses, a little bit of energy shield, crit, energy shield, extra damage for empowered attacks, which is all we do. Subterfuge mask. Harness the elements is extremely powerful. We use every element on the enemies, so might as well. Over here, escape velocity, staunch deflection. Like I said, we're at the point in the game where I just need defense. That's why we're like this. At one point, instead of using this Megalomaniac to give me the extra 2 skill slots and the extra evasion rating as armor, I used to use a cluster jewel over here, or the one of these as well. And we were spec'd into things like the critical strike damage, going down over here, getting the extra damage to elements, these nodes for the extra crit. Just pretty much everything over here. Late game, don't need it. I ended up getting just defense and getting things elsewhere. Down here, we're kind of only going down here so we can use our Heart of the Well. And then get into a few bonuses here. We were down here getting the deflection ratings, the extra movement, or skill speed, and then the deflection. So we had a lot going on down here at one time. But as things go on and you evolve your character, you eventually just kind of spec out of certain things and just go for what you're looking for. And in this case, I just need defense and just specking into my cluster, the Time Lost Sapphires. So this Time Lost Sapphire, you see, this one's a little bit different. It's got critical damage bonus, skill effect duration, and increased effective notable passive skills and radius. That's going to increase everything, including the crit chance and stuff here. Pretty big bonus. So if you can get something like that, go for it. And this is everything that you can spec into right here is extremely powerful for our build. Might as well do it. Late game, the extra frenzy charges are good. Until you're able to really get them going, I would spec into this. And that's about it. That's gonna be it for the tree. I'll show you guys the tree here we used to use. So when you're first leveling, it was something like this, and I just kind of went through. Show you it from the top there. And these are the ones that we have here. So bestial skin up into the jewel socket here. And then down here. Oh, you know, it's kind of weird that it shot over this way. This is not the way I spec'd the first time. I wonder why I did that. Anyway, this does work. I didn't even realize you could get there that quick. But there you go. Differences are is we're trying to get that elemental resistance. We have a lot more defense and help from our companions. And while you're leveling, just all this defense helps out a lot. You really don't even need the damage. And when you spec this way, it makes it cheap to transition over to the crit chance that I was doing with Garukans. So this is kind of how you're going to level, something like that. And that's about it. So that's the passive tree. And that was the gear. And then that was stuff right here. I had a hard time figuring out how I wanted to level and do my things. So our first gear we had when we were leveling, I was using Forgotten Warden, extremely powerful. I would even still use it maybe. So Atziri Step gets you to the deflection rating really quick. Sacred Flame just takes over, it just annihilates everything the moment you put it on. Star Conscious Helmet, because of the class we are, we always have a companion. This is extremely powerful. You may just use this all the time and never switch to another helmet. Crown of Eyes, there is so many different little spell damage that goes to attacks that you can randomly spec into or that work with this build. So if you decide to go Crown of Eyes, go for it. And then the Black Insignia was okay too for a while. Tailwind, if you're not sure what it does, you're getting a buff that gives you increased movement, skill speed, increased evasion, and you get increased damage prevented from deflect hits. Pretty powerful. It's kind of some early game easy options for you, and then went with like an evasion chest and whatnot. A little bit of blink action every once in a while. So as you see, the build has been through a bunch of different types of options, but this is my favorite little setup at the end here. There's that. There's the passive tree. Over here in Ascensions, you do have to go with Sacred Unity. So the way you get that is just Vivid Stampede, the Maka's Gift, and Wild Protector. Once you get this, the Soaring Ground gives you 40% more damage and evasion rating. You have Onslaught at all times. It empowers the skill of your projectiles. Makes your bear regenerate life by 2% maximum when you're next to him. And also gives 8% more of the damage that you would take over to him. This is just one of the strongest reasons, one of the reasons to be this class. All right. So that's kind of most of the basic stuff for you. As you see, one little blast of tornadoes fills the entire screen for quite a while because of all that restoration we have. And then I'll show you a few map things.